Welcome back to the Well House Exorcism. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
It's PukwaPJ.
Hooray! Happy New Year.
Woo!
Happy almost birthday to me.
Yeah.
That's right. How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
My throat hurts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink this tea. It's delicious. Tell about your leg.
Oh, well, we talked about this last
Did we?
episode.
Did we?
Yeah, because I introduced myself as Broken PJ. PukwaPJ.
You were broken. Then you had COVID.
And then I got news that I was more broken than they initially thought.
Exactly. The part. New broken. When the original
Broken
isn't good
2.0.
enough. Gotta show up. Yeah, we go in for a CT scan, and it's a list of broken bones, not just like one or two. So, Nurse Jackie, if you're out there, which I know you are, it is way worse than we initially thought.
Yeah.
That CT scan. But the good news
It's a
is
list.
no tendons.
Yes.
So no surgery. And then you got COVID. That was your gift from Disney. Disney was great. I did not get COVID, but I got sick from head cold from Alex.
Yep.
And now my throat's killing me.
Yep.
Which is terrible because on Tuesday, I'm supposed to be doing a big presentation for the last part of my dissertation.
Hooray.
So I'm just like, I'm going to get better. But we are using new technology.
Yes.
So hopefully our mics will come across as like crystal clear and amazing.
Yeah.
So what are they?
They are Shure podcasting mics. I forget what it's called. The Shure something.
This arm has a line through the O, so it must be like Swedish. Is it Swedish?
I don't know.
Because it says road.
Yeah,
but...
Rode is... I know it's a very good, audio brand. Because they make microphones and boxes, too, and things like that.
Well, thank you, Rode, because there's a line through the O, and her for the microphone. Shout out to whatever technology you are. All I know is that was our Christmas present to each other. Merry Christmas, honey.
Yay.
Hooray.
Merry Christmas.
Shut up.
Dang it.
You should be saying happy birthday now.
No, not till next week.
It is next week.
Is it?
It's Sunday.
Yeah, I know. That's
Sunday begins a new week, so my birthday's this week. It's this Friday. Yeah, that's right. Anyway.
This woman.
I know. I'm adorable. So I got some great Christmas presents, which we finally just got yesterday.
Yeah.
Because our families could not get together due to COVID and Disney. So I got these two, they're books, but they're also magazines, I guess.
Yeah, almost like coffee table books.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who got them for me because it just had two Shanna. I think it was from Dad. And they're interesting because they go together. They're both by this group, Amy Bruni and Adam Berry. So then they tell their stories of places they go. They're basically us, but cooler, and they actually go visit haunted locations and do EVPs and stuff.
Yeah.
So we should,
look them up.
Become them. But anyway, so I have two different books, and I want to start off this new year by taking us back to New Jersey to something scarier than the Jersey Devil.
Oh, dang it. It's getting all excited.
Something that's real. So out of their one magazine book, I'm not sure what you want to... I mean, it feels like a magazine, right? But it looks kind of like a book. I don't know.
I think it's a coffee table book.
Whatever. There's a coffee table book? And no, it says display until November 28th, 2022. So it has to be a magazine.
Huh.
Terrifying real-life stories of haunted houses and scary mysteries is the title of this one.
Sounds terrifying.
Yes. And so in there is a house.
What?
It's called...
Is it haunted?
No. It's called the Watcher House.
Do they watch?
Someone does.
For ghosts?
No.
Monsters?
You ready for the story? It's crazy. This 2-story Dutch colonial at... I think I'll leave the address off here. Okay. In New Jersey, in a suburb of Westfield.
It's posted in the magazine.
You're right. You know what? I will do that. This 2-story Dutch colonial at 657 Boulevard in the New Jersey suburb of Westfield sold for $1.35 million in 2014.
Dang.
The buyers, Derek and Maria Broadus, thought they were getting their dream house. Built in 1905, the house had 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and more than 3,800 square feet of floor space.
When they told the kids, they said, "We brought us a nice house."
Oh, gosh. New year, but same you. But there's a picture of it.
This is a nice-looking house.
It is a nice-looking house. They had 3 young kids, and the house sat on just under half an acre, one of the biggest lots in this idyllic neighborhood. But the Broadduses never moved in. In June 2014, 3 days after closing, Derek was at the home painting when he went outside to check the mail. In the box, he found a white envelope addressed in a scrawl to, quote, "the new owners," in all caps. Inside was a typed letter that welcomed Derek's family to the neighborhood, then went on...
All in caps. Welcome to the neighborhood!
Oh boy. Then went on to say that the writer had been watching the house for years and asked if the family knew about the forces inside its walls. And this is a quote from the actual letter. "Why are you here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within?" The note ended with a typed signature in a cursive font, "The Watcher." 2 more letters followed, each revealing specific details about the home and the Broadduses, and each more threatening. Some of their quote, "Planes and cars and bicycles crash. Bones break," read one of the letters. Police investigations turned up nothing. After the Broadduses learned that the home's previous owners had received a letter from the Watcher on the eve of the sale, they filed a lawsuit against them for failing to disclose it. Fun fact, a judge later dismissed that suit in 2017. In 2019, the Broadduses finally sold the house for about $400,000 less than they paid for it. The buyers were a couple from Westfield, suggesting, according to news reports, that locals weren't that concerned. The home had been owned by only a handful of people since 1905, and no one had ever reported receiving similar letters. People were suspicious not of the Watcher, but of the Broadduses. But what I find interesting about that story is that they're receiving nasty letters from some creepo watching their house.
Yeah.
Okay? And then they sell it later for less than they paid for it to a different couple who also lived in Westfield.
Yeah.
I'd point fingers at that new couple who bought the place. Maybe they wanted it, because the letter started on the eve of the sale. So maybe they're angry because, they offered a different, what is it? They gave a different...
someone offered...
less than $1.35 million, and they didn't get it. So maybe it just was them. I'd be looking at those people instead. But anyway, the story is so creepy that it became the inspiration for a 2022 Netflix series, which I know nothing about. But if you've watched anything like that...
What's the name of the Netflix series?
It doesn't say in the thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think it's actually called The Watcher.
It could be.
Yeah.
So, PJ, how would you feel if you got a letter like that from our house?
I'd be like, yeah, I know.
Everyone's watching us. It's cool. We're used to it.
2022, 1 season, The Watcher on Netflix.
What's it about? What happens?
A family moves into their dream home only to be plagued by ominous letters, strange neighbors, and sinister threats.
So nothing paranormal.
Got 6.5 out of 10.
Well, better than 5 out of 10.
Reviews.
Better than a 5. Better than a 6.
Yeah, sure.
It's almost passing.
Naomi Watts is in it.
Interesting.
And Jennifer Coolidge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Okay, I want to watch it now.
So now I want to share something else from these magazines. This one was supposed to be displayed until December 10th, 2021. So it's called Ghost Hunting, The Science of Spirits. Also by Amy Bruni and Adam Berry. So it goes over different...
What waiting room has these magazines in it?
Places we should be at.
I know.
Craver and our people, our friends. Maggie's Casket's gonna have these somewhere. Craven and Castor's should put these on sale. So in any case, do you want to learn about this puppy really fast before we get into our main feature?
Okay.
Now, we listened to the sound. How do you pronounce that word?
Egregores.
Egregores. Not Dementus.
It's like Gregor, but he's egregor.
He's an egger suit. Egregore. But anyway, look at that creepy picture.
Okay.
Okay. So an egregore is different than most paranormal beings. But I bring this up because we talked about a lot of shadow figures and there being a lot of negative energy at certain places. So things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these things are not actually spirits of the dead.
Okay.
Okay. So to quote Amy Bruni and Adam Berry when they're talking about, going to different locations, they said, when they go into a haunted place, they try to build trust with the spirits that are there, even though they can be quite creepy, and intimidating and, murder some or something. But anyway, it says here, it's precisely those sorts of outwardly frightening locations where visitors typically feel overcome by sadness, alarm, and worry, where egregores are most likely to appear. And to quote Bruni, she said, they're born of whatever the dominating emotion is in a space. Unlike ghosts, egregores have never existed in human form. Rather, they are believed to be manifestations of negative energy that has been allowed to build up in one area over time. So, it's a creation of your imagination. If I were to, get all Dr. Seussian, I guess.
Yeah.
But Dr. George Owen, who is an actual university lecturer, he said, while ghosts are objectively real, these guys can be created out of the minds of those who see them. So these aren't ghosts. We create these things.
Okay.
Right? And so there was actually a study for this, which is so interesting. So let's go back to this whole study. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Because
I'm having a hard time with this one, so...
Because it doesn't seem real?
You gotta sell me on this.
All right. More recently, the paranormal investigators, so Amy and Adam, were called out to the Oliver Estate, a historic site in Middleborough, Massachusetts, once owned by Judge Peter Oliver, one of the colonial America's first industrial entrepreneurs, and asked to deal with an unwanted, menacing supernatural presence. To do so, they took a page from 1972's Philip Experiment, a legendary parapsychology study undertaken by university lecturer Dr. George Owen to test his theory. In that study that he had, 8 participants invented a historical character and then attempted to summon that persona. So they just invent some character in their minds, and they try to bring it forward. Like they're inviting this ghost to their house. Okay. Not only that...
So you're saying if we talk about Zach Baggins enough, he will form in
But he's
the
an
basement.
Actual human. They're inventing something.
Well, our persona of Zach Baggins.
Oh, okay. Zach Baggins. Not Zach Baggins. We're going to go Zach Baggins.
Zach Baggins.
Remarkably, they then seemed to be able to interact with this character they invented. Not only that, when the spirit was asked about his various traits, his answers curiously matched up with the details the group had created. So again, it's that like monkeys in the paw idea, be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. So it actually were able to like invent this thing there and talk to it. Listen, I found it. I thought it was interesting.
I mean, it's cool and all, but...
Yeah, I'm going to go with the more so like the spirits are drawn
to
Now,
hold on. You bring up this story, but you will dismiss the Jersey Devil. Something that has been documented by lots of people, including Napoleon Bonaparte's brother.
Documented in a personal journal. Listen, it's the whole, like, Salem witch trials again. He was eating some bad rye bread. I don't believe that. Anyway, why are we here tonight? We're here because I want to discuss the state we were just in. We went to Disney. We passed some really creepy stuff. Fun fact. Or within, like, 20 minutes of it.
Gators.
No, Bradford's doing just fine. Listeners, the entire time we were down in Florida, I would watch out the window.
You don't understand
looking
what it was like in that car.
Looking for an alligator in the wild. And so...
Every body of water, it could have been as shallow as a puddle.
There were some puddles that I
And she was just like, there's a gator out there.
You're saying wrong. There's a gator in there. Definitely a gator.
That's it.
And then we saw one on Disney World property of all places.
Yeah, as soon as we passed through the gates, pretty much.
And I asked PJ what the name of the alligator was, and he was like, oh, it must be Al or Al. No, it's Bradford. Stop being alliterative. And
no, you skipped a part, though. She sees the gator, points at it.
It was a big one.
And then the whole car erupts with 3 screaming children.
Yep.
And Shanna. There's the gator! There's the gator over there! You see the gator? And then they roll down the windows. Bradford!
It's his name.
Bradford! And we're at a red light. So she's able to like get...
And then when I yelled Bradford, though, what happened? Because I shouted this too.
He looked at you.
He turned and looked at me. And I was like, I went, oh my gosh, he looked at me. He would have killed me. He was quite huge. So yeah, Disney World had a gator on its property and a body of water. He was just out sunning himself, having a fun all day. Yeah. And so later we're looking for Florence, his girlfriend.
And then we found Florence at the Haunted Mansion.
At the Haunted Mansion. And I'm like, look, she ate someone. That's why this person died. It was a whole story. Sophie and I were so excited.
I can't believe that you just picked a name that happened to be one of the 3 tombstones at Haunted Mansion. Of all the names.
Did Sophie and I pick the name, or was it an egregor?
God. Did we summon the tombstone? Next time we go back, it'll be a different name, like Beverly.
That's... What, you saying that Bradford's gonna date Beverly? That's alliterative. Again, you're being alligatorist. You have to knock this off.
I never said that Beverly was gonna date Bradford.
No, because she just invented now. That's not a name. It's not a name for an alligator. Florence and Bradford they have fancy names, and they wear top hats.
This is about as ridiculous as the idea of an egregor.
And then in our pool area, we had an anole lizard that I named Peter.
Yep.
And he hung out for a couple days.
Because he's trapped in there.
He had bugs to eat. He's fine. He was nice. Anyway, so in Florida, apart from the gators, who were very lovely and far away.
We freed the lizard, by the way.
Yes, I wasn't there, but you and Eli did.
Yep.
So thank you for saving Peter. He appreciated it. So anyway, we are going to talk about 2 haunted locations that we passed and were close to in Florida.
I'm ready.
Good. My references for this evening are prbweb.com. Prob web, I guess. Prob. Frightfind.com. Hauntedplaces.org. plazaresortandspa.com. news4jax.com. and oldcityghosts.com. Okay. A lot of stuff because I was pulling a lot of information together. So, the first place I want to talk about is the Daytona Resort and Spa. We drove past it, and I believe that's where we were considering staying, and Daytona is where Ray's aunt was located. So, really close to where we were. So, when you think Daytona, you think, oh, Daytona beaches, you think, white sand, waves, possibly a Bradford. But anyway, you think spring break, right? All the fun stuff. But maybe you should be thinking about paranormal activity.
Are we in Louisiana now?
Are you scared yet?
Of this accent, a little bit.
You put the molasses in your mouth. Anyway, the Plaza Resort and Spa in Daytona Beach is, in fact, haunted. It has been entertaining guests for over a century, the plaza itself and the hotel. It offers...
I thought you were going to say the entity.
That too. But the plaza itself offers over 300 guest rooms and suites offering amazing views of the Atlantic Ocean and the Halifax River. Which is pretty neat. It was originally built, so it's good in history a little bit, in 1888 as just a large beach cottage for Charles Ballow and his family. Just wanted to, have a house and chill. I get it.
All right.
This was just 12 years after Daytona became a town and had its first town meeting. Mm-hmm. So Daytona was young when this house was built.
Prime real estate.
Pretty much, yeah. And actually, Charles was one of the original settlers in the area. Fun fact. So he built this cottage at the end of Ocean Boulevard. Not Ocean Avenue. No, Ocean Boulevard, PJ.
Obviously.
Although it was a summer residence for the Wisconsin native, because Charles came from Wisconsin. All the places to come from, by the way.
That's a drive.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
Yeah. That'll be a horseback ride, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be a ride.
Oof. The cottage was soon expanded and was named the Clarendon.
Okay.
Almost like Claridian, but no. Clarendon. Then, the historic Plaza Resort and Spa officially opened as a hotel on New Year's Day in 1911. So not long after he built the house. It was bam, bam, bam.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the 7-story hotel at that time featured a Turkish bath, a barber shop, a manicure parlor, an 18-hole golf course, tennis courts, and horseback riding facilities.
Huh.
Yes. They also got to enjoy numerous exhibitions and airplane rides.
Wow.
Be a fun place to go, right? This guy was obviously rich. That's all I'm saying.
Back in the early 1900s?
Yeah, I know, right?
Airplane rides?
I know.
Whew. That's risky.
And so, to kind of back up 2 years, because they had named this place the Clarendon in 1911, the reason why they had to redo it in 1911 is because in February of 1909, tragedy struck. It was the height of the winter season, and a fire broke out, and the entire hotel was destroyed.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why they had to reopen it later and call it the Clarendon.
Mm-hmm.
But during renovations, here's an interesting thing. Many hidden underground hallways were discovered. And I did a lot of research. Nobody knows why they were there.
Yeah, especially since it was only made like a few years prior.
1888, yeah. Why do you have hidden hallways?
It's so weird.
And it wasn't like a wine storage area. No, they're hidden hallways. So, that raises some speculation. Who were they keeping, or what were they keeping down there? I don't know. Just saying. So the new Clarendon was opened, as I mentioned, in 1911 on New Year's Day. Now, it was renamed the Plaza Resort, years later. So when I'm talking about this, it's the Plaza Resort, but it all has the same name. Now, it is a winter playground for Americans and international travelers. They all head there because Disney World, right? Mm-hmm. In 1925, it became the first hotel on the east coast of Florida to remain open throughout the entire year, too. So it wasn't just a winter playground. Now, here's something also interesting. During World War II, the hotel closed down due to the war effort, and they served as a barracks for the Women's Army Corps for 2 years. So the WACs were there. Not your mom, but many of them were.
Yeah.
So in June of 1944, reopened under a new name with amazingly modern amenities for the era, including central air conditioning and radios and televisions in every room.
Dang.
Right? Heck yeah. So it has quite the history. So that was, 50 years after it opened? It's gone through a fire. It has some hidden weird tunnels. Now we have all the best features. So very interesting stuff there, which is why it's haunted. So what do you want? Do you want to hear about the hauntings now, honey bun?
Well, obviously. What else is there?
What do you think is haunting there is the question.
Whatever was in the
basement.
The basement.
All right. So a recent investigation...
And a Gregor.
Actually, you've probably seen the video of this online because it pops up and it's like a legit video. A recent investigation into the resort has now shown us another reason to visit, which is the hauntings. Employees and guests over the years have thought they saw or heard strange paranormal happenings, but of course that was all hearsay until August 25th, 2013. Security camera footage captured what appeared to be a ghost-like figure in the bar and grill section late at night after closing. The figure moved around the bar area, changing shape. After the security guard saw the suspicious occurrence on the surveillance camera and arrived at the bar and grill to check out the suspicious activity, the ghostly figure appeared to retreat. Yeah. So some people say that it is dust or it's a bug. So I want to show you the video really fast.
Okay, and we'll post it on our Facebook page.
The music is quite epic.
And it's just repeating now. Yeah. But, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like...
I gotta pause this. Hold on. Music is still going. Okay.
It looks like a cloud.
Yeah.
Just moving around, like, up over a bar and things like that. And it like you said, it's amorphous. It changes shape.
And so that's why, like, even I can't believe that'd be a bug, because a bug has a very specific, like, look to its body.
Defined shape, yeah.
And even a dust mote, it's going to be pretty much a circle. This, like, changes shape. It gets flattened out, then it gets round again.
Yeah, dust looks like a circle. Yeah.
So the hotel security chief, and his name is Chris Lankiewicz. I hope it's Lankiewicz. It's very Polish. But, you know, he actually has gone on record saying this is legit. So the fact that he actually wants to be honest with it and put his name to it showcases that he believes this.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't dust. It wasn't a flashlight. There was nobody in the bar causing this aberration. I went and personally checked it out myself. In the past, I know I have had strange things happen to me at the hotel. One night, I tried to open a door that was not locked. It seemed like someone was pulling on the knob on the other side. I finally got the door open, and no one was inside. So the fact that he even like goes on record or other things happening, I think it adds, again, I like to see validity to these things, but the video is pretty neat. But he said that he was so rattled by the experience that he claimed that he actually felt something there, but he also like flat out refused to ever enter the bar area again. He's like, nope, I'm not going there. Yeah. So adding to that, of course, I said that, you know, he's had issues like with doors went up, but he's actually heard things like rattling keys very, very loudly. He's felt cold spots in the middle of like known heat waves, and he's also heard like this repeated giggle sound as he's patrolling the halls.
Don't like that.
Yeah, no. And like there's no one there and he hears the giggle. I'm like, nope, I'd be out. Other people have also seen or heard supernatural events. Some of the regular ghost sightings include the spirits of a man in overalls. Not like from
not Clyde.
Nope. But he's believed to be a maintenance worker. There's also a little girl who's been seen running around, hence the giggling. And a man believed to be a prior property manager. Late at night, there are experiences of odd elevator activity, such as doors opening and closing on their own. I would not like that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Especially considering that story you found years ago where that people like were in the hotel or the elevator.
Gettysburg.
Yes, and they went oh no.
Yeah, it took them down beyond the basement back in time to the old hospital.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to our Gettysburg series, listeners, that is just tell a story again, just because I feel bad not giving that out. So go ahead.
I mean, it's basically what I just said. Like, it was a group of people. They got into an elevator, and it like hit like ground floor or whatever, and it went past the ground floor, past the basement, and then it opened up, and suddenly they're back in the 1800s. Yeah, and they see a field hospital in front of them, and they smell everything and see everything, and they just, and it's chaos, and they're terrified, and then the doors shut, and then they, like, go back up.
Were there some stories, too, like, where the ghosts turned their heads and looked at them, too?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, regardless. That'd be horrifying.
Yeah.
So, no thank you. Elevators. Like, when I think of that story, every time I get one, I'm like, no. We're not in Gettysburg. We're okay. Anyway, so throughout the hallways and rooms, though, guests and hotel employees have had other strange occurrences that they really can't explain. For example, it would be the doors. Repeatedly, guests and workers there say their rooms will not open, or they will open on their own.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Including their closet doors. They'll just be sitting there on their bed, and their closet door will just open. Boop.
I hate that.
Yep. One guest even went so far as to report that his front door opened up on its own, and he dashed into the hall to see a dark gray apparition floating down the hall. Yeah, right? Nope. There are also issues of doors not opening, like I mentioned. So, of course, you go to inspect a room, and he unlocks it, but the door doesn't budge. That has happened many times to other people. And, like, they're, like, slamming against the door, really wiggling it, but it feels like someone's against the door, holding it close, so you can't get through. And then finally it just does.
Yeah.
And the one security officer said it happened to him, and when he opened the door, there was a cold spot where he had walked in.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
listeners, if you listen to the episode called Dan's Stories, you'll hear a story that I went through that was very similar to that.
Yep.
So.
Workers, too, say that when they're like cleaning hotel rooms and stuff, if the doors aren't locked and they're like, pulled tight, they will open on them. Or if they have the door open because they're cleaning, the door will just slam shut and there's no one there. Yep. One last comment, though. It's really interesting. It said that one guest died in room 1111. So 1111, not 666.
Yeah.
And this room is particularly active as a result. A person named Mark Zimmerman jumped from the 11th floor balcony to his death. The drawers in that room open and close, and the doors open and close as well, including the closet. I'm not staying in that room.
Why not?
This is just like the Hotel 1790.
Oh
We're not going there. So what do you think about...
We need to tell our 1790 in Savannah stories. We need to do that.
We'll put on the docket. You can be in charge one week and just figure it all out. So we're never staying at the Daytona Resort and Spa.
No. Well, we don't really have a need to ever go to Daytona, too.
True. When I go down in May to get hooded, it's in Miami.
Which is way farther south
than
fly. Daytona.
Just so you know, we're going to fly.
Yeah.
Or we take a train. No, we have to fly because I only have so many sick days and personal days. Anyway, so the next place is the old lighthouse in St. Augustine.
Okay.
All right. So the St. Augustine Lighthouse actually has the distinction of being the first of its kind established in Florida by the new territorial American government. She old.
Wow.
She real old.
All right.
Yeah. The official lighthouse was constructed over an earlier watchtower that was built by the Spaniards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how old it is.
Wow.
I'm looking for Aqua de Vida. They were building this watchtower. And so a quote that I took from one of my sources, I think this was City Ghosts, quote, "The waters around Florida were a maze of commercial and seafaring trade routes. This not only attracted investors, but a lot of pirates and privateers. When Sir Francis Drake attacked St. Augustine, one of the first things the Spanish did after he sacked the colony was implement various beacons and watchtowers along the coast in order to prevent something like that ever happening again. Because it's crazy to think that Florida once had pirates. We never had pirates. Like, because we're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's horrifying, but also cool. Because, like,
Mhm.
Florida's down there, like, you know, getting close to, like, places like Puerto Rico and Cuba.
The Caribbean.
All the beautiful stuff, yeah. Nassau. So, of course, there'd be pirates around there. But imagine Sir Francis Drake, like, attacked them. Which is why this place is haunted. But anyway, one of these watchtowers was carved into the place the lighthouse now calls home. They're mostly made of coquina, taken from a nearby quarry on the island. So quite beautiful. So in terms of like the history of this lighthouse, between the years of 1731 and 1762, so well before Florida is a state. This is over 100 years before it is. The high seas off the Florida coast saw all manner of swashbuckling adventures. It really became that reality version of Drunken Pirates. So I think of Tortuga in Pirates of the Caribbean. That was Florida, which is crazy. So smuggling, decapitation, murder, shipwrecks, illegal boardings, all that and more that I don't want to add in here took place like right inside of this place.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Swashbuckling good time? For
sure.
pirate? Well, anyway, around 1740, though, the watchtower became an actual waypoint for runaway slaves, too. So it's connected with that. So the Spaniards, not out of a sense of nobility, but just to inflame and incense their British counterparts, just like to think of that, created Fort Mose, just a couple miles from the watchtower. The place was a sanctuary for free blacks and slaves fleeing from British occupation. So you got pirates and you got runaway slaves. Then, during the 1760s, the HMS Industry sank off the shallows of St. Augustine in a sandbar. A couple of sailors lost their lives to the tragedy. The ship was scuttled, and some of its supplies were used not only to strengthen the different forts in the area, but to shore up the lighthouse. In other words, the structure was partly fortified and constructed from the remains of a sunken ship where people died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got creepy ghost ship, we've got pirates, and we've got runaway slaves. But wait, there's more. In 1864, during the American Civil War, the lighthouse became a point of contention between Confederate sympathizers and the Union. The Confederates stole the lenses and clockwork mechanism, which caused some major issues because you need those for a lighthouse. Yeah. So you had that going on, which caused a lot of problems. But wait, there's more. There was also Operation Drumbeat. So this includes the Nazis. In 1942, a German U-boat under the command of Reinhard Hartigen used the St. Augustine Lighthouse as a waypoint for a campaign of terror against oil tankers shipping out of Florida. The boat would raise its periscope and triangulate trading routes for enemy vessels based on the lighthouse's presence and light. So we have Nazis too. But anyway, the current lighthouse is over 145 years old. It's obviously still a vital part of navigation. It still works. It obviously has been designed to support military defense, travel, trade, boat building, you name it. And of course, even pleasure boating and local law enforcement. It's all there.
Yeah.
So St. Augustine Lighthouse, super, super important. It's also super, super haunted.
Ooh.
Are you ready for the spoopy?
I'm ready.
Okay. Because Daytona Spa and Resort is creepy. This is like wackadoodly.
Well, lighthouses are like
I think it's because you're stuck there because
they're isolating. Yeah.
The lighthouse keeper is there by himself for such a long time. And that's why I mentioned the egregores, actually, because if you're there for a long time, it can lead to mental illness and upset. And you're putting a lot of negative feeling there. It can draw nasty spirits, but maybe you're creating this own thing because of your mental illness.
Yeah, they're called hallucinations.
We
We all need to call it egregores.
Not an egger suit. Shout out to Men in Black. Anyway. In 1871, the Americans came to a realization that the lighthouse was sinking.
Oh, no.
They did extensive remodelings and reconstructed the old building. A man named Hezekiah H. Pitty was assigned the task, and he oversaw most of the construction efforts. Hezekiah.
All right.
However, so this is a quote again, I think it's from City Ghosts. Hezekiah H. Pitty had really restless children. By today's standards, they would no doubt be labeled as hyperactive. Anyway, Pitty constantly brought his kids to work and let them play around the construction site.
Oh, no.
And then in all caps, big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On July 10th, 1873, the kids are playing with a cart, one of those just carts you use, jumping and riding around in it. And to quote again, the cart toppled with the kids inside and crashed into the nearby coast. Back then, the surf reached the lighthouse. The two eldest Pitty children, Eliza and Mary, drowned. There was a third African-American child, but some newspaper reports failed to mention her because it was the 1870s,
terrible.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so two of his children and their playmate.
And a third, yeah.
Yeah, died. Hezekiah, poor guy.
He went from dad to husband.
He was still a dad. Like one of them lived.
Oh, so he had 3 kids. Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Well, so according to the story, like he had multiple children, but only 2 of them, the 2 eldest ones died. So.
Man, that's terrible.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Like you're just there working, trying to help out society, and then, yeah. But according to the operators and staff of the place, the playful ghosts of these children are still there. All right. So, again, kids giggling, I don't like it. But the workers there will find like bolted doors from Lighthouse like hanging wide open the next day. So it's kind of like, thanks kids, we locked this up. It's locked. It's locked for a reason.
It's like the Skinwalker Ranch house.
Kind of, yeah. They often tell tales of the racket of children's laughter in the middle of the night. Okay, and like racket's probably like less scary though than like the creepy kid giggles. But be like, shut up! I'm trying to sleep. No, really, stop it.
Thump, 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 thump.
It's like our house when we try to record it anymore. But anyway, music boxes sold in the gift shop will mysteriously pop open and start playing all by themselves, which is kind of cool. I want to see that happen. Tour guides report increased incidences of being touched or seized by shades while showing visitors around.
Oh, wow.
As well. Yeah. Don't like that. One worker stated the girl's footprints show up often at the keeper's house, and they like to have fun, even at her expense. She said, I have had them untie my shoelaces plenty of times. Now I wear shoes without laces or shoes that cannot be untied. They are just very playful. They like to hang out with the moms, teachers, nurses, and caregivers, and people their own age. So I'm in trouble, because I'm a mom and a teacher. I'm just like, uh-oh. And currently I'm a nurse, so... Nurse Jackie, let's go on a trip.
Just wear Velcro shoes all the time so you know when they do something.
Shrink. Get that EVP. Anyway, so visitors in the lighthouse describe catching flashes of a young girl dressed in old era clothing gazing out from the lighthouse door or standing by the upstairs window. This ghost is of a young lady, and she's rather pleasant and rarely interacts with the visitors. She's obviously a residual haunt, but she's not one of the children. So she's just another female.
Yeah.
However, there's a terrible haunt. And I find it kind of scary and cool because he's called the Man in Blue.
Oh.
And so I think of the man in the blue suit in our house.
Yeah.
Yes, another quote from my research here. When he appears, he makes life a living hell for the workers. One lighthouse keeper refused to go back to work because the man in blue harassed him for a whole night, chasing him up and down the 219 stairs of the lighthouse. Eventually, the lighthouse duty had to be handed over to the Coast Guard because of this wraith.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that many stairs just in one flight, and he's going up and down all night. What's scarier, the ghost or the steps? For you right now. Oh, no,
my
I'm sorry,
gosh.
honey.
I would just lie down.
You win. Aw. Many think that the man in blue is the wandering spirit of lighthouse keeper Joseph Andrew. Andrew plummeted to his death while painting the original tower in 1859. So we don't know, but it could be him. Others maintain the poltergeist is of another lighthouse keeper. The man, heartbroken by his solitude, allegedly hanged himself in the tower and was only discovered the next night when the lighthouse failed to illuminate the coast. Visitors and staff describe the overwhelming smell of cigar smoke at the landing of the tower, even though smoking is prohibited on the grounds. At night, the current keeper constantly says he can hear boots coming up the stairs, but when he turns around, there's no one there. I'm never going to be a lighthouse keeper.
No, that's not ever a thing I would want to do.
No, no.
There are too many stories of them going insane.
Yeah.
And, it just sounds like a horrible, horrible job.
I guess, like, modern day, you could Zoom with a friend, like, play board games over Zoom, like we did during COVID with our friends.
Yeah, and you would have, like...
a phone.
There'd be other, it'd be, like, usually a team of 2 or something, but still.
No, yeah. But there are other stories, many stories of spooky interactions, not just these guys. Guests who wander around the hall's lighthouse, and this is according to the specialty programs that are offered, and by the person who's the manager, her name's Sammy Washburn. She said she gives the Dark of the Moon tours year-round, and she says she's witnessed a whole bunch of paranormal activity with the guests there. And herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, quote, windows open and close when they are not supposed to be open or closed. She said that's a typical act of the ghost, and she says they appear in shadowy forms. That's one of the most popular ghosts they see there, actually, and all of the guests see this shadowy form as well. But she said, well, sometimes things are just really, really creepy. Like one time, she was locked inside the lighthouse. She said, it was definitely one of those jaw-dropping, I can't believe this is happening, how do we get out moments. Thankfully, I had a staff member who was with me who was going to climb out of the window and unlock the door.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine you're on a tour and you're locked in because the ghosts lock you in. No, thank you. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But also horrifying. But she said it gets more interesting when the guests have those encounters. So she said, we will have people sometimes say they're struggling to climb to the top of the lighthouse. Then all of a sudden, they would feel a hand on their backs kind of guiding them up to the top of the lighthouse. So there's a ghost like pushing them up if they're struggling up those 219 steps. So she credits that to Maria Andro, a ghost who usually dresses in white and is one of the other ghosts that Washburn says appears in full body apparition. She was the wife of the keeper who fell to his death. And so she's a very nice, loving, helpful one. There's also the ghost of Peter Rasmussen, who was one of Washburn's favorite ghosts. He was the longest-serving lighthouse keeper, working 23 years on the job in the early 1900s. Can you imagine 23 years as a lighthouse keeper?
Yeah.
I can barely imagine 23 days.
Yeah.
I want to go on a vacation away from kids, but that much solitude. I couldn't. Anyway, so Washburn says that Rasmussen sends a cherry tobacco scent throughout the lighthouse, especially if another guest insults him. So don't speak badly. Washburn says that this has happened before, and she said, a man called Peter stupid. And as we were exiting the room that we were in, he stopped right in the doorway. I went back to check on him, and I got to the other side of the doorway, and we could smell this whiff of cherry tobacco, like someone had walked through the doorway between us. I think that was Peter just saying, hey, I got my eyes on you. Do we call him stupid just so we can smell the smoke?
Sorry, Peter.
It's not Peter the Anole Lizard. It's a different Peter. But anyway, well, it's not the only place that's actually haunted, though, because the area around it is haunted. Like the lightkeeper's house beside the lighthouse itself is also haunted. All right, so inside the 1876 lighthouse keeper's house are rooms full of history and sometimes the presence of those who once called this home. Specialty Programs Manager Abby Smith spends a lot of time there, and she says the Victorian era parlor is kind of where you want to be. She said she gets a lot of visits from the first keepers who lived there, Major William Harnes and his wife, Kate. The Major died of malaria and tuberculosis about 13 years after moving in. And so she said, we can still hear a cough from the tuberculosis in the house to this day, especially if you're the only person here, you can hear it right in your ear. Sometimes people come in and we'll see an indentation in the seat as if someone had sat down. Then they would hear a long, drawn-out sigh as if to make themselves comfortable after a long day of work. And then there's a rocking chair that moves back and forth on its own. And
there's got to be one of those.
Why not? Yeah. And Smith says that freaked out a new tour guide one time who accidentally referred to Harnes by the wrong title, Mr. William Harnes. And so the chair started rocking like he was angry at him. And so she said the rocking chair started to violently rock back and forth. She did not know what she did wrong, so she told the chair to stop it. The rocking chair stopped in its tracks. The tour guide gathered her group, walked back outside, and did not come back into this room for the rest of the night. Smith also says that his wife pops up in shadow-like figures, sometimes walking in rooms or hallways.
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually passed St. Augustine, the lighthouse, and they actually have they have fun examples of it throughout. Remember we saw that one lighthouse that was just by a restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
So they have lots of these cutesy ones because St. Augustine is so popular. But it's pretty close to Daytona Beach. So when we go back to Disney, we should go here and bring a ghost home. What do you think?
Well, that's still 2 hours away from Disney, though.
Well, we're gonna be there for a week. We'll talk. Okay, we'll talk. Anyway.
I don't know.
What do you think about all this?
That's really cool. Lighthouses are friggin' creepy as they are.
And not one alligator was mentioned.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. One day. At least I mentioned pirates.
One day what? You'll be eaten by one?
No, it'll be my friend.
Oh.
Bradford, I'm coming.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, so welcome back to a new year, honey.
Woo!
Next week I have some more fun stuff planned for us. I've been doing research about that creepy house that we ended the year with.
Oh, yeah?
I got some stuff.
Because you and I both did some research one night, and
I found some stuff. It's not so great. It's yeah. So
I came up with the past several families who lived there.
Me too.
A lot of turnover in the past 20 years.
And I found well, I don't want to give anything away. I just want to say that it's really interesting. So I got to meet up with Anthony and show him some pictures, he and Rose, so that I can get their opinions on some things. So yes, I did some I got some stuff. So in any case, though, my listeners, thank you for being with us. Happy New Year. Happy birthday to me. Woo-hoo.
Happy birthday.
Happy healing and fast wonderful thoughts to PJ over here. And as always,
think spoopy thoughts.
There it is.